What's going on, everyone? This is the Lower Midcard Podcast. I'm Kyle Driver.
And I'm Grind. And it's another week full of live events, man.
Just nonstop wrestling.
Jam-packed wrestling. I don't even know how to explain how stoked I am to cover the topics that we're about to cover, from the reaction stuff from last week to the predictions, where I'm going to go heavy in those WWE predictions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm just glad that this is the way that we're coming in hot, because I really felt like last week you were kind of on the like the 50,
I was
50, like on the fence.
And it could be that it's a WWE week where I'm hooked, line. Oh, I'm super excited, right? And last week it was a little more AEW focused, right? Yeah. And so, and I'll admit, I was wrong.
I thank you.
Yeah, I was
wrong.
We
appreciate it. We're gonna convert you.
Yeah,
okay?
You are, and I think it's slowly happening. And I'm slowly like shock and awe each time they have a big event. Yeah. So I think we just jump into Forbidden Door. My thoughts on Forbidden Door when I heard about it, I was very lackluster. I was like, what is this? I was like, you know, you had Double or Nothing prior, and I thought, that, like, how could you live up to that, right? I was like, yeah, okay, maybe this is for the hardcores, but none of them are like gimmicky matches. I mean, we went from a bunch of gimmicky matches to no gimmicky matches, really, right? And so I didn't understand the appeal, and Eli kind of gave some insight on that. Well, then the event happened, and man, I've got so much to say. The one thing I'll start off by saying is they started off with, on the main card, with MJF. So I was like, what? Like, what are we doing here? What? I just don't understand why you do that, because I'm like, this is the guy I came to see. As a casual fan, this is my guy, and I guess we can start there.
Yeah. So how did you feel about the MJF match?
I felt like it was probably one of the more lackluster matches on the card. 1,000% honest. I mean, it was a solid match, but it wasn't anything to really remember. It wasn't a 4 pillars match, right? It was short. It was one of the shorter matches, if I remember correctly. It was solid. I understood why. What was Hiroshi Tanahashi? Yeah. This guy, from a technical standpoint, I thought it was great. It was a good match. I feel like there wasn't what I really like about MJF's matches is the banter and that kind of aspect, and I didn't really feel like it had too much of that. So it was, from a wrestling standpoint, it was great. And I do think it was the right way to start off the card, after seeing all the matches. But I was, from a casual standpoint, I'm like, dude, this is my guy. I want to see him on last. I want to build up to that moment. And after the match, I kind of understood why they did it first. I guess the funniest part about that match was halfway through the match, I guess he had set up a tweet to go out stating like that he was already, like, he won and he was already leaving the building or something like that. And he had not won, and he was not leaving the building. So it was kind of funny. They touched on that with the commentary, and I got a nice little chuckle. But overall, man, I'd give it like 3 out of 5 stars. Nothing I'm going to remember, right? Like, it's not one that's going to go down in the books where it's like, that was a great title match.
I was going to say, I think I agree with you that it needed to be where it was. A lot of that also was facilitated on the fact that there were just bigger matches than the AEW championship match.
Right.
Like, it's just the way it was. Like, as much as MJF wants to be top billing, I think he understood the significance of some of the bigger matches and was gracious to be like, oh, I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna knock it out. Like, I'm gonna get it over with, and like make it seem like it's below him, which is fine.
And that's a great angle for a heel. This awful human being, scum of the earth, MJF, the devil himself. So yeah, I think it was a great match to start off with. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't wow. And I think that's I went into that with that understanding too. So
what followed, in my opinion, wasn't much better. CM Punk versus Satoshi Kojima. I'm probably butchering that, but
Kojima.
okay, you know what? All right, we get it.
You need to get with
I'm
brother.
working. I'm trying. CM Punk pulls this one off, but I don't know if that was the right choice. And I mean, he got booed out of the building 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row. No, you can't just, this business shows, man, it is brutal. You can't just walk away, say bad things and come back and expect people to love you. Now, there are people that are hardcore CM Punk fans, but that, twice, man, in his entrance the night before on live TV and then on pay-per-view, he got booed. And he was booed quite often throughout the match. It was a solid match. There was one time where I believe he did the Hulk Hogan, taunt
leg
to the
drop.
ear thing,
yeah.
and then the leg drop, and I was like, what are we doing? That I did not really enjoy. And overall, man, I was like, okay, the MJF match was good. I kind of see maybe why it was the first match on the card, even though I wanted it to be deeper into the card. But then the follow-up, I was like, what is going on? CM Punk is CM Punk, and he's going to get the win because he's CM Punk. But I just don't know. I don't know what they're doing with him. I mean, they're trying to just put him right back into the mix, and it's just not working.
The opposite of what the WWE did with the World Heavyweight Championship, where everybody expected Cody to win and then he lost.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that they would do that.
No.
Yeah. It just makes more sense to have him in. I mean, the match was fun. I mean, it's Kojima, you know what I'm saying? Like, and the elbow drop to the nuts on CM Punk was fucking hilarious. And then I don't know if you saw the Twitter post, but like Kojima, he tweeted out like, "Hey, I'm sorry for the elbow drop. It wasn't intentional. I don't have that type of technology." It was fucking hilarious. And then just like the top comment, it was just him just peck dancing, was like I loved it. These are fever dreams.
Exactly.
This is our what if, right? So that's like, at the end of the day, we're just watching wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, next match. That was the International Championship with the Orange Cassidy and Zack Sabre Jr. and Katsuyori Shibata and Daniel Garcia.
Favorite match of the night.
That was your favorite match?
That was my favorite match. I love, like, because you have a handful of people, because Shibata and Garcia have both held the pure title, the Ring of Honor pure title. I don't know if Orange Cassidy or Zack Sabre Jr. have held it. Zack hasn't been in Ring of Honor. I don't think he's like done any tenured stuff in Ring of Honor. But just the technical wrestling that they do, like Orange Cassidy just being very, very different, like his style's different. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. It's definitely easy. Like, the one thing that I love about Orange Cassidy is that, like, the way that he is easily digestible for people that don't watch wrestling, right? Because he's not like, it's like, oh, dude, what the fuck? This guy's sloth style. What the hell's that? Why it's captivating for people that don't watch wrestling. And so you had the mix of Orange Cassidy, and then you had Daniel Garcia, and then Shibata, and then Zack Sabre Jr., who's like, his submission stuff is hilarious. I knew that like the spots that they would come up with would be entertaining. So this was definitely like, for me, my favorite match of the night.
Did you call it sloth style?
Yeah, they call it sloth style because it's, he's very lackadaisical
Sloth.
and yeah, he's very slow. It's just sloth style. He does.
I guess like I mean, you're 1,000% on it when you say that he's very good with casuals, because that match starts and starts with sloth style. And immediately I'm cracking up, man. I'm just like, dude, this is great. And so you're hooked already into the match, you know. I didn't touch on him a lot last pay-per-view either, because he just does a good job, but it's like weird, it's like normal, but then he adds that sloth style to it and puts his hands in his pockets and stuff, and it's just entertaining. It's funny. Like, it's funny, it's great, it's entertaining, and I am very happy with where he's at. If he was a world champion, I may have a little more concern, but him holding this AEW international championship is perfect. It's like the perfect flow, because he can almost do no wrong in my book, and he's having good matches. So, you know, I think it was great.
I like this match a lot, but a lot of that is just because it's 4 of like your really good mid-card guys doing mid-card stuff, doing technical, fast. Everything is just, it's just timed well. It's heavy hitting. It's fast paced. It flows very well, and they all are just able to display what they can do and keep you intrigued. And I feel like this was a very good display of what everybody could do, and that's what happened. And I think the match was only like 11 minutes, so they packed a lot of stuff in like that 11-12 minute area that they filled in, and everybody basically was just happy with that match. That match was great. So it's definitely not my favorite match, but there weren't any real bad situations here, so it's not like, I mean, I understand you being over the moon about it, and I can get people saying that this is their favorite match, but yeah, just solid all around.
This next one really threw me for a loop. Sonata versus Jungle Boy for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I'm not a Jungle Boy fan. I think I've said that before. I've heard behind the scenes he's not the coolest guy to be around. I didn't like the fact that he was babyface forever, but something changed, man. I walked out of the room when this happened, and I had to see it later. So Jungle Boy has a turn at the end of the match. We can talk about the match, but I think the most interesting fact is, you know, he what's his name? Hook, Taz's son. You know, he's like he's Jungle Boy's buddy. You know, he raises his hand and whatnot, and then Jungle Boy clotheslines him, and he drops to his knees and like mocks the fans and whatnot. And at this point, dude, as somebody who does not like Jungle Boy, at least he's being himself. Like, from everything I've heard behind the scenes with Jungle Boy, is that he's just a heel. He's not a babyface in real life, and I'd rather see what this brings, because I don't like him as a babyface. So I'm really curious to see where this goes from here. But let's get into the match. You guys, tell me what you think of the match. I walked away at this point. I was not, like I said, I'm not a Jungle Boy fan. I had no interest in watching Jungle Boy. So anyway, let's hear your opinion, Kyle.
The match was it was just kind of there for me. And I think that just might be like my own fault, just like my own like vested interest in the match was just like not there. Like, it was cool seeing, you know, Sonata wrestle. And then just, I don't know, it just felt weird to have Jungle Boy there, like in that spot. But it that's whatever, you know, like going into Forbidden Door, just, you know, just watching the matches, because these are just, you know, dream matches. So it's just like I watched it and I was just like, okay.
My biggest thing, and we talked about it on the last episode when we were talking about this, is almost all of the gas was turned, like the pedal to the metal, on the possibility of this match being more than it ended up being, was the fact that they already just showed who was going to wrestle Sonata, and that they brought Jungle Boy out like the moment after they announced that it was an open challenge. Like, all the steam's gone, all of the momentum for me gone. You give anybody the element of surprise into what's going on, with what could happen. They could have done the exact same thing that they did in the story, in the match, etc., and just not said who was coming out yet.
Yeah.
And if he comes out, they go, "Oh wow, it's Jungle Boy." He comes out, he wrestles, he loses, he gets dominated, he gets frustrated, he turns. I feel like that is a better call. That's my only gripe with this. And personally, I just do not care about Jungle Boy. I actually liked him being in Jurassic Express a lot more.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Made sense.
big guy and then technical wrestler, and there's
Right.
kind of like that mix that works really well, and they had good chemistry. And I think I understand people being like, "Oh well, the tag teams run its course," but like you
Yeah.
still have the Rockers running around and the Midnight Express running around 50 years later, still
Yeah.
doing the
Yeah.
same thing.
Right.
Like it does. You don't have to mix things up.
Yeah.
No, when it
You
works,
get
it
a good
works.
thing going.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, I can get them wanting to go in different directions, and I can get people being, Jack Perry being frustrated with everybody not taking him seriously or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
like, to me, it's just there were two strikes on this already from the get-go. One, they announced the thing way too early, so there's no momentum, there's no surprise, there's no pop, and that's normally what people are, looking for. They want to be wow, they want to be surprised, and that
Exactly.
ruined it. And then they all built up this whole thing where he's getting frustrated, and they could just tell that
Yeah.
he was, he's about to snap, and he snapped, and nobody was surprised. And I just feel like, sure, it happened, but I feel like they just did it wrong. That's all. I don't think it's bad. I think they could do something really interesting with this, but I just don't think they did it the right way.
Right around this time, I think there was supposed to be a match that ended up getting canceled last second between Adam Cole and Tom Lawler. I didn't see much promotion for this match leading up to this match. Maybe I missed it. However, when I did see the actual flyer for it, I was blown away that Tom Lawler was competing in pro wrestling. I knew him from mixed martial arts in the UFC. He had a nice little run, and he was a fun guy to watch. So for me, I was stoked. I was really excited for this match, and it was probably other than the MJF match, this is what I was looking most forward to. And then sure enough, it got canceled. And from what I can tell, the reason it got canceled was because Adam Cole was sick.
That's what I heard too. So
yeah,
I'm in the same boat with you where I didn't know that this was going on. It seemed thrown in or slapdash or whatever, and it is what it is. That's the business. They got to roll with it.
Next up was the Eddie Kingston dude, I can't pronounce these names.
Ishii.
Tomohiro Ishii.
And the Young Bucks versus
the Hung Bucks.
Okay, hold on. Are they
the Hung Bucks?
Are you serious? Is it really
the
fucking
Hung
Bucks?
The Hangman and the Young Bucks. It's Hung Bucks.
It was never Young. It's always been Hung.
No,
it's the Young Bucks, but because you have the Hangman Adam Page tagging with them, right? So they're called the Hung Bucks instead of the Young Bucks.
No, it's the Elite.
I don't know if I
literally I'm going by the Hung Bucks. If you want to call them the Elite, if you want to call them Young Bucks, and
everything I'm seeing online says the Hung Bucks. No joke, literally. But I thought it was a mistype. I'm not.
It makes sense, even if it was that's the best typo I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But yeah, and then versus the Blackpool Combat Club.
It was fun. I have one statement to make. Eddie Kingston, man, he's looking.
Love Eddie Kingston,
dude.
Love him.
He's funny. I'm not gonna
I love him.
He's looking a little thick, bro.
He's always been thick.
Looking a little thicker than last time I saw him.
I remember when I watched him for the first time I've ever seen Eddie Kingston was at a Shikara Pro Wrestling show. It was Eddie Kingston versus, I can't even remember. I think it might have been Jervis Cottonbelly. I don't know. But I've loved him ever since because he's just a dick. But you love him.
Yeah. You know. Match.
Yeah. Anyway, the match. Yes. Let's please talk about the match. And the
This was my second favorite match of the night.
This was an excellent match.
Are we talking?
First of all, I'm so glad that Blackpool Combat Club did not come out to Wild Thing. That was amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm burnt out on that fucking song. But I loved it. I know Ishii's another one of the like the old guard dudes from New Japan, but like dude still can fucking move. That strong style holds up definitely a lot longer, you know.
I will say, just as kind of like an I guess an aside, I remember seeing somewhere where, as a cross promotional aspect to this, Kingston's going to Japan to wrestle in the G1 Climax later on. So if you like Eddie, he's going to be over there, and wrestling at the G1 Climax for New Japan. So Grind, if you are interested in Eddie, you're going to get some Eddie over in New Japan.
For
Eddie,
for all of you listening, like I don't know what happened with Grind, but he just went.
I was gonna say, dude. I listen when you bring up Eddie Kingston and you say the G-Spot Climax, you know,
G1,
dude. That's what I heard. I was like, hey man, all he
get
put
your head out of the gutter, brother.
Yeah, dude. I might give it a shot, but I can't. I cannot call it the G1. It's gonna be called the G-Spot. You know.
All right, you know,
G-Spot
as long
Climax.
as you watch it.
Whoever named that, bro, was.
Want.
You know that whoever named that was like, hey, this sounds really close to the G-Spot Climax. You know,
I don't know.
They had to.
Maybe
they had to. The G1 Climax. Come on, dude. We're too close.
I don't know. We're
going down a dark road.
As long as
that's why my jaw was dropped, bro. We're talking Eddie Kingston and the G-Spot Climax.
You're thinking about Eddie Kingston's G-Spot, whatever.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly. Okay,
moving
on. The AEW Women's World Championship match between Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale, which I'll be 1,000% honest. I watched her on Collision the night before Willow Nightingale. And I was like, this girl can move, man. And I truly thought she had a chance. I really did. And I thought maybe they were bringing her. She's from Ring of Honor, right? She's a Ring of Honor champion.
She's Ring of Honor in New Japan. She's part of like the AEW.
Dude,
like,
she for her size, she can
yeah.
move, man.
She's awesome. I love Willow Nightingale. You know, she's that bubbly personality, but like if you cross her, she gets fucking pissed. And I think she's a great in-ring performer. And just I've never watched a match with her and just been disappointed. Like she brings it.
So does Toni Storm, and I think I think that's something that like that I just didn't really know well enough up until Forbidden Door was that Toni Storm has Paige. What's her name? What does she go by now?
Soraya. Is it Soraya or Soraya?
I mean, this
Paige.
is where English sucks.
Whatever she calls herself is what we should.
And
anyway.
and she got Ruby in her corner as well. And I mean, there is so much talent there, right? And in the Outcasts, that they make Toni that much better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I understand every reason that she won. But I think Willow's a star, and I think that I always go to this place, and I've said it 1,000 times. Like, I can't believe the WWE let these people go, man. And it's just great. It's just great to see like two rising stars, in my opinion, Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale. They're doing their thing. They had a great match. I mean, like I said, for Willow being her size, man, it's like, whoa, that girl can move, and Toni retains. It was as simple as that.
It was a good match.
I thought it was solid. One of the more focused, like solid matches of the night. And for me to say that, like coming from a women's match, it doesn't happen a lot. Maybe I need to watch more women's wrestling, but I feel like a lot of the time, especially in the WWE, it's very lackluster. You know, like we talked about with Rhea, nobody's even close. You know, yes, there's been some good matches, but a lot of them are just kind of like, some of them have been squash matches because they're just not there. But Toni Storm and Willow Nightingale really felt like a solid pro wrestling match.
I agree. I really don't like Toni and I really don't like Ruby or Soraya anymore. I just don't like the Outcasts. I just feel it feels very forced to me, and I feel like they're getting all of this because they used to be WWE people.
Yeah.
Um, that's just my only issue, really. I think, but I mean, this is just like the way I kind of approach it with my perspective. Like, I've actually seen Willow wrestle in person in the Indies a couple times, and I'm very like into that, and I was like over the moon when I was like, I've seen her wrestle in front of 30 people. And now here she is on like a bigger stage, like and actually getting legitimate chances and coming in and showing everybody that you don't just need to be a former WWE wrestler getting onto the card to have a push or be legitimate.
Yeah.
And although I'm a little upset with the result, like it was still good. And again,
Yeah.
I'm also bitter because Jamie Hayter is my favorite women's wrestler, and
Yeah.
Tony beat her, and I don't understand the decision at all, other
Yeah.
than like trying to like we've talked about before, where like having your faction have the gold is what
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
So
Then
like,
what's the point? Exactly. I get it, and that's legitimate. I think it's we enjoy the matches that we want to enjoy because they have the wrestlers that we like to watch, right? And if we have a
yeah,
couple, if we have another, if we have one, we have a wrestler that we really like versus one that's just like whatever. I get it. It kind of
It hits your
yeah, but like
heartstrings, man, and makes you a bigger fan. I
yeah.
totally get that 1000%.
So let's move on to the
Yeah.
next one.
Okay. IWGP United States Championship between Kenny Omega and versus Will Ospreay. This was interesting, man, because I thought for sure that Kenny couldn't retain this because this is a New Japan title. It makes sense for Will Ospreay to win, right? But as the match progressed and Don Callis came out and kind of just focused in on Kenny Omega, I was like, okay, well, Will's going to win this. But then every time I thought Will was winning, Kenny would come back. And every time I thought they'd get to a finish, Kenny came back. And I was like, dude, I mean, it was finisher after finisher after finisher at one point. And I think this was the match where they both bladed, right? Yeah, okay. This was ridiculous. And this is where, to me, this is how you know the match went way too long. Kenny blades about 10 minutes into the match. There's a spot where they're out on the announcer table and he's hitting his head up against the table. And you're, okay, cool. He's bleeding, right? Awesome. Love it. I'm all for it. Well, about 10 minutes goes by, blood dries up. Well, now there's a spot in the ring, I believe, with or no, it was outside on the steps with Will Ospreay, where now Will Ospreay is bleeding, and he's bleeding profusely. Yeah, right. Well, this match had gone on so long that they both dried up, and you couldn't even tell they were bloody anymore. I mean, it went on for I think I'd counted like I would love to see the timestamp on it, but it yeah,
39 minutes and 45 seconds.
it felt at least 10 to 15 minutes a little too long. In my opinion, to the point
where only complaint.
Yeah. I thought it was every finisher you could imagine. It was great in that aspect. I thought the Don Callis angle with the screwdriver was pretty cool. I loved it. I loved it. But when the blood dries up, I was just like, dude, this is how you know it's gone too long.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, at the end of the match, they weren't a bloody mess. They didn't come out. It was all dried up, and they looked the same. They looked like they just had a long, drawn out match. I was like, wow, that's how you know it went too long.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I think we're all in agreement that it was a little long in the tooth. It just went a little long.
I disagree. I think this was the best match of the night by far. I think that it was the length it went was warranted. I think it just went slow in the latter third. That's all. That's all. It's where they get into the point where they're kind of doing a move, kicking out, getting a submission, kicking out. Like where they're like doing all these false finishes, and that's the only thing. It's just where they're letting the emotion of everything that happened up to that point boil. And I can understand people thinking it's running long, but I also think that it was just one of those things where they're giving you the tension, and the tension has to take time to build up. And some of that time in the latter third of the match was everything kind of coming to a head. Like, will he, won't he? And
Yeah.
that's where I think it makes perfect sense. I think this should have been the main event. I really do.
I agree with that. I totally agree
feel-
with that. We had this trios match. Dude. Tetsuya you know what? Nope, not doing it.
Sting.
Tetsuya Naito.
Yeah, Sting, Darby Allin, Tetsuya Naito versus Lei Suzuki Gods. You got Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki, also known as Murder Grandpa.
Murder Grandpa.
Okay.
They were
actually
chanting that.
chanting. Yes,
They were chanting
it,
Murder Grandpa because he's just a fucking crazy old dude. And
listen, speaking of grandpas, Sting did not look young. He Well, here's the thing, man. I I would have to say at this point, it's time. It's time. He looked rough, bro. I thought when he got in that table spot, bro, I thought he was dead. I love Sting, and I was really hoping that this match was going to be something I really loved. But at the end of the night, I think this was the worst match on the card.
You should watch the main event of Dynamite tonight,
Okay.
because he is in it.
Oh,
and
God.
he does another table spot.
Oh, no.
And it's a little. They set up two tables, and he doesn't make it the whole way.
Oh, no.
Oh,
dude.
no. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Don't tell me that. So basically, they literally murdered Sting on live television.
Dude. It's come full circle, right? You said Murder Grandpa? Murder Grandpa. We've got the grandpa getting murdered.
So, I mean, I had no issues with this. Murder Grandpa, Naito, and
the grandpa getting murdered.
And Grandpa Sting getting absolutely obliterated. I mean, I think the match was fine. Like, obviously, you just kind of watch it knowing what it is, especially with who's in it. So I didn't have any issues with it. I enjoyed the match. It wasn't my favorite match, but I enjoyed it.
That leads us to the main event of the evening. And
absolutely,
this was a trip, because as somebody who did not follow Bryan Danielson prior to WWE, I did not know that he was the American Dragon, and I didn't know much of his background. I didn't recognize how over he was in the indie scene. And I'm just gonna let Eli kind of touch on this intro. How did it hit you? Because as somebody who follows the indies, like, it seems like quite a bit, when his walkout, what did you think?
So, funny story. Unfortunately, I actually had to go to the bathroom, so I missed
no.
the end.
Oh, no.
I missed the very end of the trios match, and I missed everything up until like Okada walking into the ring. So when
okay. Moving on to Kyle. Kyle, how did you take in the American Dragon coming out to, let's just get the cat out of the bag, the final countdown?
Yeah. I thought it was good. I was like, all right, cool. We'll change it up, because honestly, I can't stand fucking Daniel Bryan's entrance music that it is right now. I don't know. It's annoying to me. So I was like, all right, I'm good with this. This holds up better than Wild Thing.
That's it? That's it.
I loved it. I mean, it just didn't hit me the way that it would hit everyone else. Like, I knew Bryan Danielson, like, I've watched a couple matches from when he was in Ring of Honor, but like, it didn't hit me in the fifis like it would for someone that's like followed his story career and just like knew about all that shit. Like, most of my knowledge for Daniel Bryan was from WWE.
And that's why I don't like him. I didn't like him up until this match, and I'll tell you why. I didn't understand who he was in the indie scene. I knew him as Daniel Bryan, and I've never liked Daniel Bryan. I never liked the Yes Movement. I thought, where is the WWE headed if this is the Yes Movement? With that time period of the WWE, did nothing for me. I was like, who is this 5'5" short bearded guy? I didn't know his background, and I think that's and that's a big issue. Like, because now, I that he comes out to the final countdown, I'm like, well, this is cool. I didn't know it was a callback. Once I found out it was a callback, once I found out he joined the BCC, like, and not just that, I didn't understand why they were called the Black Pool Combat Club until I think last episode, where you guys somebody told me recently, and I didn't understand it was the whole William Regal thing. So I had a lot to really take in on this, especially with somebody like Bryan Danielson. And when he came out to the final countdown and I was told it was a callback, I was like, well, that's really freaking cool, dude. It felt like, for the first time to me, Bryan Danielson was a star. Like, and I know he was a big deal in WWE, and at that time, the Yes Movement was something special that I missed out on by choice because I thought it was stupid. But it felt great. And then seeing him wrestle Okada was a treat. But I'll tell you this. There's two things that really took me back. It was a treat. I don't think it should have been in the main event. It didn't get the pop that the other matches had gotten. I do believe that the Kenny Omega match should have been the main event. I thought after the Kenny Omega match, the card just went downhill. Because you had the Sting match and then you had this. And what was crazy was, even with the final countdown, the American Dragon, and you had Okada come out, and you had this technical wrestling, the best in the world match, it seemed like the crowd just died. Like, they were like, okay, this is cool, but it's not what we were getting in the prior matches. And can this kind of just be done? And then there was a callback, and it was to the Yes Movement. There were some Yes kicks, I believe, which either led to the Yes Movement or was prior to the Yes Movement. It was around that time period, like 3/4 of the match, way into the match. And that's when you lose me. That's what I was intrigued. I was watching every little moment. I fucking hate this Yes Movement. I will never be a fan of it. It's just something that I just didn't enjoy. And the crowd, that's when the crowd started to pop. Now, what's funny to me more than anything, that is the only point in the match I noticed that the crowd was popping. Other than that, Daniel gets the win, or Bryan Danielson gets the win, and it fucking flatlines. The building is quiet. He's on top of the ropes going, I won. And literally the crowd's like, yeah, that's cool. We're, good job.
It was a good match. I'm not.
Oh, it was a great match.
Yeah, it's just I do agree that there was a little bit of a.
The crowd wasn't in it.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't behind it.
There were like 12 matches. You got
there was a lot of wrestling.
There were three of the matches in 0 hour. We didn't cover them just because there's so much that we'd have to cover.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the same thing that happens with WrestleMania, especially when they were only doing one night. You got like 8 hours of wrestling, and some people
it's too much. You get tired. That's just how it is.
Looking at the card from a whole perspective, even though I've been kind of, pretty critical on some of these matches, overall, man, it blew my mind. Like, I'll be 1,000% honest. I was interested the entire time, and I thought for sure it was going to be a snooze fest. Why? Because I've never really got into the indie scene, and that's something that I'm learning. Like, I consider myself a pretty hardcore casual fan, not a hardcore fan, but a hardcore casual fan. And what I'm recognizing is that every time I dived a little bit deeper, man, I'm loving it. And this was a totally new experience. This was something I had never experienced before, because it had never, like you said, up until a year ago, it really never happened. I'm gonna rate this Forbidden Door card. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. I don't think it had that oomph factor of a Double or Nothing, but it was quality all the way around. So I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 stars. What about you, Kyle?
I'm going for 4.5.
Ooh.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the wrestling, even if some of the matches were a little, just because of the names that were in there. I still enjoyed it from a wrestling standpoint, from a fan standpoint, seeing these competitors in the ring, in these configurations, I enjoyed it. So I'm going 4.5.
Dope. Eli, what about you, man?
I'm going to be a little more critical. I think the biggest takeaway is if anybody's going to watch the pay-per-view and they don't want to sit through the whole thing, watch the four-way match, watch the women's match, and watch the Osprey and Omega match, and I think you're going to be okay. I will give it like a 3. Just on that. Everything's good, but the problem is like even a 2.5 out of 5 is good. So
Yeah,
I like it.
the good matches are really good, and the other stuff it's there. It's not bad.
All right.
let's burn through it.
Money in the Bank is coming up, man. It is this weekend at another fun special start time. For me, it'll be like 11 a.m. So once again, another morning WWE premium live event. For you guys, it's afternoon. I'm starting to recognize that with the WWE expanding, at the lengths that they are, this is going to become a more common thing. And I really like my Saturday night, Sunday night live events. But you know what? We got to go with the flow. And I'm a big WWE guy. I'll be there bright and early for this thing. It looks like I don't know if this is in order or not, but I'm going to go with the order that I found. And it looks like we just start off with the men's Money in the Bank. So we're going to start off with predictions. We're going to start off with the men's Money in the Bank. Last time we talked, we had Ricochet, Shinsei Nakamura, LA Knight, Butch, Santos Escobar, and Damian Priest. Since then, they've added Logan Paul, which makes things way more interesting. And from the rumor mill, I'm hearing Triple H does not want Logan Paul to win. I personally think, I'm just gonna give my prediction. I personally think that Logan Paul is there as a cash grab, as a way to get viewers interested. He is very, very good at what he does. And I think he can, start a feud for maybe SummerSlam with like a Ricochet, which I believe that we talked about. They had a feud in the past. I still think that this is LA Knight's, Money in the Bank opportunity. So I'm going with LA Knight.
Yeah. As far as I want LA Knight to win, I still think it's going to be Damian Priest. I still think it's going to be Damian Priest. Just because we've touched on it with when it comes to factions, you need more than just the one, the lady that's in your faction have a title. You need something of substance, like not knocking the women's title at all, right? But you still need to have a strong faction. You need one of the premier titles on both sides.
I'm not changing my prediction either. We went over that last episode.
Yep.
Still Priest. I will say I rolled my eyes when you said Logan Paul again. Like I actually think every match that he's had in the WWE has been better than I expected. But again, it's just another guy to not win. And from what I'm gathering,
there's really no reason for him to win, right? I mean, you can do he's so flexible because he's part-time that you can do anything with him. You can bring him in, he's going to draw eyeballs, he's going to have a good match. You know that since this is a ladder match, it's going to be interesting, high-flying, crazy stunts. And I'm so looking forward to this. Like, this is my wheelhouse, man. We're talking WWE. You bring in somebody like Logan Paul, I'm just over the moon for it. But it just doesn't make sense to make him
right.
I think at some point Logan will hold a belt. I just think I think we're a few years off, and I don't know what that belt will be. And I don't think, unless he becomes more of a full-time or have a full-time run, that he would ever hold a world title. I think
we can go over this at some other time, but like I honestly don't think that's going to happen, just because I don't think he has the respect of the locker room. He's there for a cash grab.
Yeah.
Like he's there to help build the brand to be more than just wrestlers,
Yeah.
Like how WWE has always done with Mike Tyson, with Carl Malone, or
the difference is he is the most athletic we've ever seen come from like that style. And he is shown time and time again, his matches, you can't say they're bad matches. Like you
No,
can
of
look at
course
them
not.
and
I'm not saying that they're
yeah.
bad matches. I just don't think he's going to hold a title. I think he'll continue to have that contract to just kind of be a name on the card to kind of help bring in new eyes to the sport. I don't think that he's going to hold a title.
I can't wait to see where this conversation goes in 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on, the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This has not changed from my understanding at all. Wait, or did they add Trish?
They added Trish. Trish was in. Trish wasn't in.
All right. So you got the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. You got Zelina Vega versus Zoe Stark versus Becky Lynch versus Io Sky versus Bayley versus Trish Stratus. Listen, there is, in my opinion, it doesn't change. I'm going with Zoe Stark. She has everything to gain and nothing to lose. Every other name has either fought or wrestled for the championship and doesn't bring anything new, or they are a Hall of Famer and have, it is, and you can tell they're there to bring eyes. So Zoe makes a ton of sense. I'm going with Zoe.
I'm still up in the air on this one, man. I have not made my decision on who I want to win. I would love to see Zelina Vega, but I don't think it's her time yet. She's very close though. She's putting on good matches. But I think they threw in a little something with, Becky never winning the Money in the Bank. So I think Becky's a compelling argument for the winner. I guess I'll go Becky for now. We'll see what happens after Money in the Bank, but I'll go Becky.
I'm still going Bayley. It's story reasons. I feel like she needs a kick again. And we also have to remember, winning the Money in the Bank doesn't guarantee anything.
Yeah,
very true.
All it does is give them a chance.
Very true.
It's not It's not winning the title. It's getting a shot to win the title. So more than just starting a feud and going and having a match. So, I don't know if that necessarily changes things, but I still think EO's going to do something to help Bayley get there as an entrant in it. And I also feel like the Trish and Becky thing is going to either sabotage one of them. Even with Zoe being there, I can see Zoe winning for the same reason I can see Bayley winning. But I feel like my gut feels like Bayley is going to win.
Bayley's also an interesting choice because Bayley has not had the spotlight like for a hot minute. And so I hear you, Eli. I think at this point it would make sense because she's due to be in that mix. And she's been a big star for a long time and she's kind of taking the back seat. So I would not be shocked if that happened. I think we're going to see, I really truly think we're going to see Becky Lynch versus Trish at SummerSlam. I think that's just a big named match that we're going to see. That's the next pay-per-view, right? Is after Money in the Bank, I believe, is SummerSlam. Yeah. So that's my prediction. I love all three of them. I love the fact that it's interesting enough that we all are choosing different people. I think that's really, really a good sign. Yep. And I'm sure that match will surprise all of us. However, a match that won't surprise me is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. There's no way that Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez don't walk out of this thing champions. There's no way. Because Liv Morgan, the whole reason that this situation even transpired is because Liv Morgan got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They walk out of this thing, guarantee you, with the titles.
I hope to God it is, because I'm sorry. Shayna Baszler doesn't deserve what's happening because Ronda is the most just I gave
Just
her
say
a
it.
shot.
Just say it. Tell us how you really feel, Kyle.
I fucking hate her in the WWE, man. Like, no, like when she came in, I gave her a chance. It's just, I'm just over it. Like, she'll come in, they just fucking throw a title at her. I hate that. Like, I've always hated that. I think she's put in a lot of work to do what she's got to do, but just, I don't like what they're doing with her right now. It's just, I don't like it.
Keep preaching.
I hate it.
I love it.
And
tell me all the bad words. Say all the bad things you want to say.
I just please, for the love of God, give the straps back to Liv and Raquel, and I'll be happy.
Well, we also know that you're a very big fan of Raquel anyway, and I feel like Ronda Rousey is literally the first 5 or 6 years of Brock Lesnar's involvement in the WWE. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. I know how you feel about Brock Lesnar grind, but still.
Well, you know what's funny about that is, as somebody who loves mixed martial arts, I was really big on Ronda's run prior to Ronda even being into the UFC. When she was in Strikeforce, she was a hot commodity before she was even a champion because of her Olympic background. She didn't really have an attitude or this badassery until she had the UFC title on her. And what's interesting about that is it was handed to her once the UFC bought out Strikeforce. There was no women's division before Ronda Rousey. So Ronda gets all the respect in the world when it comes to what she's done in the mixed martial arts world. She really put that on the map. However, WWE does what WWE is really good at, is selling her as the baddest, on the planet, right? Baddest chick on the planet. Yeah. That's great. But when you can't develop a character after her run, where it was Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda, that story was amazing. It really put Becky over the moon. There was that Raw episode where Becky's nose got busted and she wanted to, she wanted every piece of Ronda, and Charlotte was in the mix. And even though I didn't like the finish of that Mania, man, I didn't like the fact that it was the main event. You could tell what Ronda had done for the women's division on Raw. And I thought she did quite a good job carrying that. Now it's almost like, unlike Lesnar, where Lesnar is able to carry storylines still and be versatile, it really feels like Ronda's doing Shayna a favor. And Shayna, I feel like, hasn't developed any since NXT. And I've always felt like she's kind of just been lost ever since she was the champion in NXT. Yeah. And her character hasn't gone well. And Ronda's character hasn't developed at all since she became a heel.
Well, I think Shayna's had a title run, a women's title run outside of the NXT.
Okay. Well, if she did, it was short, and I don't care to relive it. I look at Ronda and I go, your character is stuck. It's stuck. It's not interesting. It's this heel version of Ronda. Nobody cares. Like, you're not doing anything for the industry anymore, other than being a placeholder champion. And this is where, it's the same situation as Sting, where it's like, put him out of his misery. Like, I'm done. Like, we don't need Ronda. You don't need Ronda in the title picture anymore. I believe there was a point in time where she fit the mold perfectly. She carried Becky to Becky's peak and made Becky the biggest babyface in the world. And it worked. It worked really, really well. But now it's just like, Ronda, we've seen it. There's been too much TV heel Ronda with a character that she doesn't want to. You can tell she doesn't work on it. It's not like she's like in love with the business. And I think she's just a placeholder champion, which it makes every sense of why they got, one Ronda holding a title makes Ronda happy, right? 2, on top of that, she gets to be on another pay-per-view card, which sells pay-per-views. And 3, she can just be a placeholder, and that's what they're using her for. I can't see a anywhere where Ronda and Shayna move on as champions. It doesn't make any sense.
Who do you got, Eli? Who do you got for this one?
I think Liv and Raquel take this.
Okay, let's move on to another championship match, man. There's so many in WWE. The World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and the Prince, Finn Balor, right? It's the Prince, isn't that what he's going by now? He said
a little throwback to New Japan when he was Prince Devitt.
Yeah, he made a statement in a promo that the Finn of past, which I believe he was referencing the Demon, is dead. And it was on Raw, I believe. And he didn't say that it was the Demon, but when they were showing the highlights, they were saying that, that version of Finn is dead. That's what he was saying. And they were showing highlights of the Demon, because that's when I believe he had his little 22-hour run as Universal Champion or whatever it was. Yeah. So that was an interesting little tidbit to hear, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, if that character is to die, it died to Edge, Brood Edge, which was kind of a cool way to end that character. I was kind of sad to hear it, but I'm okay with it. Now, moving on to this match with Prince Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins, I like Finn. I love what he's doing right now. It's just not enough to be the guy who's going to defend the title. It's just not enough. And so, with that being said, man, gotta go with Seth Rollins on this.
Yeah, I agree. I think Seth retains. I think it's going to be a really good match. I love watching Finn wrestle. So it's just, honestly, like, there could be no winner. It could be just a draw and I'd be happy. This is probably the one match that I'm super pumped for, just from a wrestling perspective. And I think Seth freaking Rollins pulls out with the dub.
Yeah, Seth wins. I feel like they can do anything they want.
Yeah.
With that,
exactly.
I don't think Finn losing really affects anything. They just keep going, and all. That's what it's gonna be. Seth is a good title carrier. He's very over.
Absolutely.
I love Seth, so I'm not much else you really need to say about it.
And then you do have, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you do have that story development between Finn and Damian, with like that little tension about, like their plans for the title.
I was just going to segue into that. I was going to segue like, what if, hear me out. What if Damian wins earlier in the night? And you said that, somebody needs to be carrying some weight, around in the Judgment Day, right? So Damian wins Money in the Bank, and then you got Finn Balor who wins the title. So now you got Damian who's thinking about cashing in on Finn, and they've already had that face to face. What if that little face to face that they had was all leading up to Finn winning the title and Damian Money in the Bank? How crazy that internal, oh my God, that would be insane.
Do it at SummerSlam, please.
Yeah,
right.
I want to see that shit live.
Be lit.
We're both gonna.
For those who don't know, we're acting like everybody knows. Kyle and it sounds like Eli are going to SummerSlam.
Yeah, we're going to be at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I expect.
We got the VIP treatment. I hit up a couple execs and they got us. They're giving us the red carpet treatment. We got a box, that we're going to be hanging out in.
Unfortunately, Brian was not invited.
Hey, I've been backstage. So
there you go.
Yes, he's been backstage.
For those who are not watching or listening, Eli just pulled out some really dope memorabilia. Flexing hardcore that he is a bigger fan than everybody else.
Yeah, he's just better.
No, not
and
not
he knows
that.
it.
I wish it was cooler, but the company I work for actually, like, the WWE uses our products. So
did you just say you wish it was cooler?
I wish it was cooler.
That sounds pretty darn cool. The company I work for doesn't use WWE products.
No. I didn't like talk to anybody I did get to share catering with a lot of the wrestlers, but we had to be in a separate spot behind a curtain.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, that's not cool at all, dude.
Get over there, riffraff.
I walked by Sheamus. I'm taller.
Dude, he's slowly flexing. Like he's got like those Popeye muscles that just every time he talks, it just keeps flexing.
In the background.
Yeah.
Whenever you hear entrance music, they're using the company I work for's program, and I went.
Not cool at all, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Why would you even bring that story up? That's so lame.
Yeah, dude. Well, moving on because it was so lame.
Wow, we're going to move on to the next match.
The next match, WWE Intercontinental Championship match between Gunther and Matt Riddle, dude.
What do you got?
Gunther.
I don't know why I made a horse noise there, but I felt like it was appropriate. Yeah. Well, Eli's got Gunther. He's just gonna put it out there. He's gonna and I'm looking at our notes right now, and Kyle just put me down for Gunther as well. So you know what? I'm going with Gunther.
I thought that you were saying Gunther. I'm sorry. My bad.
No,
I'm sorry.
I kept hearing Eli as I was talking and making horse noises. Go, Gunther. Hey,
horse noises.
Gunther.
Horse noises is the winner.
Yeah, horse noises. Gunther.
Are you going Gunther?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm going Gunther. I don't even feel like we need to talk about this match other than your prediction, because the one prediction we didn't get, which seems very interesting, is Kyle's prediction.
Yeah, and I'm going Matt Riddle, and he wins with interference from Randy Orton. That's what I want. I want it to happen.
That'll make my night.
Is it going to happen? No. I would fucking. I don't know what I would do. I would probably quit my job, go get a lottery ticket. Maybe I should put money on this one.
Yeah, dude. And then Bray Wyatt returns as the Fiend, because his last match was against Randy Orton. So you have Randy Orton helping out Matt Riddle, and then the Fiend comes out. You just have this massive, crazy off the rails.
I'm just gonna. This is not gambling advice, folks. Do not do what I'm doing. I'm going to go drop some money on a prop bet that Matt Riddle wins. With interference from Randy Orton.
I'll do the same. I'm not even joking. I'll do the same, and I'll send you my ticket that Gunther wins. Just Gunther wins.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'll do the money line. I'll just do the money line.
Just do the money line? All right. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay.
Cool. Kyle, I love your gusto for prediction, but I really don't feel like Money in the Bank is the proper.
You know what? I get it. I get it.
To send Randy all the way to London to have him show back up. I feel like that's a SummerSlam thing, but
you're and you know what? You're probably right. But I didn't want to just go Gunther. I want to do something different. And so I went with this. All right. Is it going to happen? No. Am I going to lose this prediction? Yes. But if I hit it.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I have to pull this up. I'm pulling up the money line right now. Okay, so the money line is minus 2,000 for Gunther, plus 700 for Matt Riddle. So you make some money if you're right, dude. I mean that's not a bad call. I mean that's a good underdog right there. Yeah,
put $20 on it.
I'll bet the under, and I'll probably make like 20 cents. So.
But if I bet $20 and I lose, I'm only out $20.
Well, let's find out how much you'd make if you put $20 on. You would make $140.
Exactly.
Now, if I do the same thing, which I will do because I said I will, I'm a man of my word. I'm gonna make $1 on a $20 bet. Dude.
This segment's been brought to you by DraftKings. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Okay, where are we? Oh,
Greg.
Co-main event. This is a fun one. I have a fun prediction for this one.
Okay.
Very similar to your last prediction, actually. Brock Lesnar. Hold on. Whoa.
Not every match has got Brock Lesnar. Okay, let's calm down, Grind. Okay,
I know. Listen, I got a little excited. I forgot he wasn't in this match. Dominic Mysterio wins by interference of Brock Lesnar. And the reason is because you got to have Brock versus Cody at SummerSlam.
That's fair. I'm gonna go Cody. Just I don't know.
Are you hoping for the story to end, dude?
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Cody, and it makes no sense to me. It's confusing, and I'm just like, whatever. Just let the boys wrestle. Cody wins, whatever. That's just move on.
Yeah, I think I think having Dominic win by interference is interesting for a build-up and a story thing, but I still think Cody winning doesn't hurt anything, and Cody losing does. So
You're going Cody?
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's the one I should bet on. Let's see what the odds are for this one, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Dominic's a 300 point underdog. So that
Nice.
I should probably take that bet as well, dude.
Do it.
Man, these are some pretty good betting odds.
Yeah, man.
That's everybody besides the main event, but we gotta wait.
Yeah, we gotta wait.
What else is new?
You can probably what else is new?
What else is new, Kyle?
I have a hard time.
My whole ass setup, man. I just rearranged my whole ass office.
Oh, so how did that happen, Kyle?
Well, it's because I am partnered with Samsung, and they sent me this beautiful Samsung Odyssey OLED G9. It's 49-inch bad boy, and it is, oh my god, it's so pretty.
It is gorgeous,
and
man.
so that's why it's here,
Yeah.
so I can look at it. You know,
those who are listening, we are all staring and salivating over Kyle's curved widescreen monitor. It's amazing.
49-inch wide, ultra wide.
Yeah, you want to say that one more time?
49-inch ultra wide.
Yeah. All right. Now that we're
on to the last one.
Yeah. Okay. The final match of the evening, man. The one that everybody is waiting for. We've been talking about this for it feels like forever. The Civil War is finally coming to a head with Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus the Usos. Could it get any more epic, man? Now, I wish honestly, man, that it would have happened a little sooner, but they've been pretty good about timing everything. Even though, like Eli said, the weekly show, it's a lot of back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
We get the point, but for the premium live shows, man, they have been so good about making these main events pop on a different level. And I'm just gonna go with my prediction. The Usos win and they turn solo, and Roman is alone on the island of relevancy, other than the wise man.
But me, I think Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa win with outside interference. Who that outside interference is, I don't know. There are, they could go with a multitude of people. They could go people within the family, within the bloodline, coming in and surprising, or someone outside. But that's my gut feeling, that Roman Reigns and Solo win.
Where do the Usos go from here if they lose? I'm curious. Where
no idea.
Okay.
Honestly, probably a break.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
They get a break.
That it could go either way, and I think it would make sense because it's helpful, I think, to have Roman and Solo kind of continue their dominance and maybe quell the mutiny. But then I also feel like the Usos are getting their comeuppance. They're getting their revenge. They're getting their freedom. Their whatever you want to call it, back. Their independence back from being under his tutelage or under his iron fist for so long. So I don't really know. I think if I go with my gut, I feel like Roman and Solo win. But I don't think that it comes easy, and I don't think that I think that it will seriously harm or seriously hinder Roman in whatever he's doing next. And I feel like that's gonna linger. So you win at it's a Pyrrhic victory. I think you win, but at what cost? And what you win is a temporary reprieve from the next thing, which is where I feel like everything's coming to a head,
Yeah.
or going to come to a head at SummerSlam. So I don't necessarily disagree with the Usos winning and getting their piece back, but I also feel like it would make sense for Roman to kind of force them out by doing what he does, which is, realistically just win.
Like you said, at some cost, does Solo recognize, even with the way that they win, that it's just pure evil, and it's not the right way to go about things.
That's a good way to put it. Like, you could even have it either way.
Yeah.
Right? You could have it to where, Roman wins and you still have, Solo bailing, whether even if it's not not that night, but
And then at that point,
the following show.
Well, and at that point too, here's the other crazy thing. Imagine this: the island of relevancy stays, and so does the bloodline, because now you got Solo and the Usos, who are the bloodline.
Yeah.
So they could continue that faction without Roman, even by losing. Which is a weird twist on things, but you get Roman, like, on the face of it, it looks like the Usos are trying to be freed from something. But what if it's Roman what if it's the WWE? This is a crazy spin, but what if it's the WWE trying to free Roman from the bloodline? You know what I'm saying? And so that way you keep the faction, you're able to grow that with between the Usos and Solo, and then Roman's doing his thing. I don't know, just a crazy little spin.
I mean, we won't know until it happens, right?
I love
and
love
then we're gonna
this stuff.
And then we're gonna get into we'll get into that next week.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, man.
All right.
With that being said, this wraps up episode 4 of the lower mid card. We'll see you next time.